uh touch my body. That's what I told them. And now I have 26 lawsuits coming after me. Um Deshaun, I'm not going to talk about the Deshaun thing too much because I basically last episode, but it just this man could have saved himself a lot of problems. You tell me one of these 66 plus women wouldn't just be your girlfriend with their professional expertise, and you could have got a lifetime of expertise. Like, I would think if you're someone that's struggling to lose weight, or you would find a nutritionist that likes you, then you have a free nutritionist who gives you full access to what you need to accomplish whatever you need to get off on. Um, but I don't know. But yeah, welcome to episode 152 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. I am your host, Clint Nelson, and the episodes have been popping lately. Been gaining a little bit of a fan base. It's good to see. Recording this in the wee hours, like the Geico commercial with the pig. Wee. Recording this in the wee hours of 7:32. Jesus Christ, 7:32 a.m. Eastern on June 15th, 2022. So yeah. Nothing too crazy, Like I said, I'll be trying to do 3 or 4 episodes a week, but that's just not how the life's going right now. But hey, that's actually probably a good thing. Because if I'm doing less episodes, that probably means my life is pretty busy. If I'm doing more episodes, that probably means my life is so pretty fucking busy. I'm just actually more sufficient with my time and actually playing stuff better. And actually have drive. Because whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there. Except if, it's your biological father. It doesn't even really apply to me, but it's funny when people like abuse those references. Even though technically it does apply, but I don't really like live my life, or I've never really had that stigma to me about my biological father. It's never really like, oh my god, he was never there. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of good reasons for that. But when you hear people you kind of use that as this crutch for a lot of who they are. It's like, my biological father was never there. It's like, all right, but you had a father since you were 4 years old. It's like, well, yeah, but I just it's a weird thing where, like, if you're like 30 years old and your biological father tries to reach out to you, but he hasn't been in your life since you were 3 years old, and it's like, I gotta go talk to him. I gotta know. It's like, actually, you don't. I feel like what you need to know is that he hasn't been there for the last 26 plus years. That's what you need to know. What is he gonna tell you? It's like, sometimes I just lost my way in life. It's like, yeah, a lot of people lose their way and they don't leave their family. They don't make so many bad decisions with the one thing that's deemed so goddamn important to them as their seed, as the future of what passes on their name. They don't just throw that away. But for some people, so some people have this heavy need that I guess we need this explanation for things. I need to know why. It's like, the why is in the pudding. It's in the pudding pack. The ones you get at the store, and it's just some bullshit powder, and you mix some. I actually don't know how to make pudding. I've never had to make pudding. I feel like that's an old person thing, like rice pudding, tapioca pudding. Tapioca pudding's actually not that bad. I think the weird thing about tapioca is it's got those brown little oomph in it. It's not like raisins, but it's just like it kind of looks like crumbled up graham crackers. It looks kind of lazy, and it kind of feels like there's like some mold in your pudding, and it's a little unsettling. Um, but yeah, no, the proof's in the tapioca pudding. It's like every spoonful, you're like, hmm. It's like, yeah, tastes like I wish this would have been in my mouth like you did. But yeah, no. Speaking of abandoning, as I'm gonna abandon this topic, um, so as you guys know, I've been a gym goer lately. Been getting the gains. I don't mean Chris Gaines, because I will Garth at the Brook here. That's a reference to Garth Brooks, pretending to be a guy named Chris Gaines, like a weird pop artist, but he pretended to be an artist as like an experiment, because being Garth Brooks isn't enough. Being literally, I remember reading those Guinness Book of World Records shit in the library at school, and you remember how in school, like every couple months, you would have like a library day where you'd be forced to go to the library for 2 or 3 hours for some type of reading, for some type of appreciation for reading. So you go around the library, and the librarian has to give all these classes this presentation about fucking books. That obviously is going to turn kids off to read books, because the more you tell kids to do something like reading, it's probably going to turn them off to reading, as weird as that sounds. But so you'd be forced to basically just be in this library for 2 or 3 hours. And I would always gravitate to when they would let us free. And I would always gravitate to the Guinness Book of World Records. I would read like 2007, 2006, 2001. And it would be the same. And I would notice the biggest thing I would take away from all the years is there were certain things that stayed the same. At the time, Bill Gates was the richest motherfucker no matter what year it was. It would be like the richest oil company would be like Exxon, and it would be all these like specific things where it would be like some things just, and it teaches you something. Hey, like, you know what, all this like, hey, it's always time for change. And it's like, yeah, a lot of these records, some of them never change. So some things actually stay the same, and that is okay. That was my takeaway from a young age of reading the Guinness Book of World Record, is that hey, some things change, but the richest motherfuckers in the world don't. The Rockefellers were always considered the richest family. Bill Gates was the richest dude, and now he's on an island by himself. Okay, bribery, and yeah, like that library. They're just in there librarying you. Okay, Clint. Now we're getting going, but yeah, shit. Where was I going with this? Fuck. Oh, so yeah, they have those appreciation couple hours in the library type of stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where I was going with that. This is what happens when you record the second you fucking wake up from your sleep. But yeah, I will say, oh yeah, so as a kind of like a gym goer, I've been well, one of the biggest differences I noticed is I actually remember my dreams now. Do you remember the time? Now I remember a lot of shit. I went through a long phase where I didn't even remember what dreams I were having. Like, I would just sleep, wake up, and I know I would dream about stuff, but I couldn't. But when I wake up, I wouldn't remember it. And now I feel like, because I'm working out, exercising, like almost, I wouldn't say obsessively, because I actually think there's a good plan and my body's feeling good. But it's like my body actually is tired, but in a rewarding way. And it's very it's very rewarding. I don't know how else to put it. It's one thing to be tired when you don't feel like you're in control of why you're tired, and you feel like things are taking a hold of you, and you're tired as like more of a submissive, as more of a, stuff happened, and this is just, I didn't have anything to do. But when you're tired because you put forth effort and time into something that you deemed important, and you feel in control of the effort of you put into something, and you're reaping the benefits or rewards from it, it's really a relieving and freeing feeling. And it just kind of makes you, look, I mean, you could talk about dopamine and shit like that and the benefits of exercising and workout, but I think it's more of your creating difficulty and resistance, training these nuts in your guts. Oh, it's only a matter of time, baby. But no, it's sorry, you know how to get some off here. I can feel my face when I'm with you because I'm on a Molly. And this is definitely a first take. Goes without saying. You don't have to do more than just shoot me in the leg. But right on this stallion. Oh, Meg. Because I am a family guy, unlike my biological father. It's fun to get that shit off because I'm not even that type of guy, but you know what? It's one of those things I feel like I should start abusing for no fucking reason. Um, but I just don't care enough to actually be one of these people to bitch about, oh my God. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, shut the fuck up. It's been 20 plus years. Get the fuck over yourself. Um, maybe if my biological father stayed in my life, I wouldn't wear panties when I sleep. It's like, I don't think any amount of a good father would have stopped that. Probably has to do more with stuff that's in your algorithm. That's in your algorithm because you look up things that you have interest in. But yeah, that is kind of a scary thing that you could literally tell a lot about what someone searches for and what someone's into just by looking at their algorithm of either their YouTube or any social media. That's kind of the scary part, is that you can't even try to lie about what you're into, because all someone has to do is go through your Instagram homepage or TikTok for you page, I guess, if that's how that works, or your YouTube recommended videos, and they could tell a lot about what you enjoy and what you're into. And you can't really deny it because the algorithm don't really lie. Like, yeah, sometimes you'll get recommended weird shit. I got recommended a video, I think it was yesterday, where it was stuff that I never look up. And now it's there's this weird interracial obsession in people's YouTube channels where it'll be an interracial couple where the whole focus of every video is just about the dynamics of being in an interracial relationship, and then they talk about topics that are supposed to be, like they'll talk about topics like fetishizing. They'll talk about topics of what it's like being with a black woman, what it's like, the culture differences and stuff. But then when they talk about it, like when the white dude talks about it, it's all these qualifiers. Now, I'm not saying that it's different, but I'm just actually more comfortable being around, predominantly black people and stuff like that. And it's like, all right. It's this weird thing where I don't even, like, it sounds very cringe when you hear someone in general, and when you see a focus of someone's whole channel is talking about being in an interracial relationship, but then they're trying to convince you at the same time that it's not any different than not being in an interracial relationship. So it seems like the bigger spectacle of their relationship is just the fact that it's interracial, which kind of ironically makes them seem like that the whole idea of why they're together is more because they're interracial and not because of things that they actually, integrate in each other's lives, if that makes sense. And I don't know, it comes off as a weird thing because I think nowadays people try to tell you, people will tell you that, oh, it doesn't matter and all this stuff, love is love, and then they're making whole spectacles and whole channels, they're making whole things about how we're so different. It's this weird thing where like we're so different than everyone, we understand things. And it's like, obviously it doesn't really sound like you do, because you have a heavy obsession with the fact that you're interracial. I think there's a different, I think you can, I think there's a fun not a fun aspect, but when you're with someone of another race, there are differences. There are cultural differences. But it's more about it is not poking fun, but it's more like lighthearted like stuff about it. And like, yeah, hey, you know what? There wasn't much seasoning in my life. They're just the basic ass jokes. But when you try to get in these too deep discussions and you kind of sound like that you haven't really thought about a lot of this stuff, and the whole spectacle of your interracial fascination, it comes off as more like you're with someone as more of a presentation type of spectacle. Like, did you actually know? And I was actually, I ran into a friend yesterday, my friend Kevin and his friend Tori. And I've talked to Tori a few times before, and he's a really interesting guy, man. He basically, speaking of the library, this man basically went to a library, and you would have thought this man was trapped in the library for 2 months, and he came out with all these historical type of, well, some race related stuff, but he was more talking about he was talking about specifically about weed and it being illegal and why it's really illegal, and the systematic, and how weed is systematic in a lot of ways, and where it actually stems from. There's a lot of shit I wasn't even real. Like, not a fun fact, because there's nothing fun about this fact, but there's this, in Lake Lanier, is actually, it used to be a town in the 1920s or 30s. The situation happened in the 30s, where it used to be a town called Oscarville, which was a town. It was predominantly a predominantly black town, and it it was very heavily spiritual, heavily, very very heavily to the outside cities, is very heavily strong in faith and very intimidating, from the white people. And a situation happened where I think it was like an 18-year-old white girl. I think it was actually two girls, but they showed me the article real quick. And basically, this 18-year-old white girl was found dead in a forest relatively nearby the town. So, how they say when one white girl, and I think where this is where the white girl, what's it called, the missing white girl syndrome, when a missing white girl, like the Natalie Holloway or the Brian Laundrie situation with the girl, I can't think of her name, but you know what I'm talking about, where the girl, her and their creepy ass boyfriend going to Wyoming and traveling and all this shit, and she goes missing. The whole world's like, oh my god, we gotta do something about it. And apparently at the time, they basically assumed that someone from the town, because she was like raped, murdered, and all this stuff. And they're like, well, you know what? For every one white woman that goes down, we're gonna release the dam and drown your whole fucking city. And that's exactly what they fucking did. A town full of 80,000, 100,000 people. I could be wrong on the 80,000, 100,000. That's what they told me, but then when I was reading the article, I think it was technically a little less, but essentially a whole fucking town. And they drowned that bitch. Lake Lanier used to be a whole city called Oscarville. And Um, it was a lot of fascinating shit. This guy was telling me. Now, just because someone tells you stuff, you still gotta double check and look up shit. But this dude seemed like he's very like, yeah, dude, I've been into some shit because he's had personal stuff going on in his life that kind of, I guess, inspired to really look into a lot of this stuff, and you learn so much shit. And God, man, I was just like, it's very interesting to just talk to people and learn shit. Yeah, I was thinking about when he's telling, I was like, when's the last time I actually learned something new? Like, actually just learned something new that is not, actually, I should say, learning something, seeking out something new that was just completely, I wasn't expecting. Just like unprecedented. Not like you learn the news of a celebrity dying. Not like you learn, not like you come across a YouTube video where it's like how to make deviled eggs. We talked a lot about that too. It's like, why the fuck do I have a recommend video of how to make deviled eggs? Deviled eggs, one, it is for the old people. There's no there's no person who's even 30. Anyone 30 or below is not at home like, you know what would be great this Sunday? If we just relaxed, we just went to church, came home, I invited some friends over, and we just all like had a tray of deviled eggs, had some wine, and we just, catch up. Like it's not really a thing. Deviled eggs is something you go to. The only time you come across deviled eggs, at least in culture, is when you go over to a grandmother's house, and she's got to be like at today's age, she's got to be at least like 70 or above. There's no, maybe 60 or above, but there's no other instance where you're going to come across deviled eggs. It's only in old people's homes. And it's always in a home that has that old people smell. There's always a dusty piano downstairs. There's always some questionable artwork around. I will always say old people keep their bathrooms clean because, they got to have the heavy assistants just to sit down. So, got to make sure everything's up to date. But... yeah, look, the deviled eggs, man, is also kind of weird how it always typically deviled eggs. Yeah, it's always from. You would think if you're like heavily religious or into God and stuff and all that, like, what's with the comfort of calling something deviled eggs? Is that like your way of like, ooh, this is our way of releasing these parts about ourselves, releasing our sins in this form of the deviled eggs. But yeah, anyways, back to the algorithm. Well, maybe there's a reason why I was in my algorithm. I also watch a lot of different content creators of commentary about certain things. So I think that's more of why. And I think I watched a video or two about black fetishizing. And, from Madison Brown and I don't want to fuck up her name, but it's like, it's this Canadian girl. It's, I don't even want to get her name wrong. It's like KWAMI. MJ, I don't even want to fuck it up, but it's really interesting stuff. It's interesting to really diversify. No pun intended. It's really important to diversify stuff that you watch. But I was also, when's the last time, like, again, going back to when's the last time I actually seeked out and learned something when it comes to either like even like historical stuff, even stuff that's like, well, why is this? And then you really do some deep research. Because I've done deep research on complete bullshit. But because it's almost like maybe I'm avoiding like real real shit that may be uncomfortable. So I focus on things that don't actually really have a lot of long-standing value or things that actually really matter, which I think a lot of us do. You know, you got to be careful of things being a gateway or things being a so sometimes I guess we probably get a little bit too comfortable of things that are supposed to be escapes. We literally get caught up in it, and now our escape is actually just normalcy and actual education of some sort. And it was kind of weird, like, because when you enter an escape per se, it's supposed to be like this relieving, like, oh, it opens like this pathway. There's this kind of endorphins that it brings out in you. It's just like you actually kind of feel alive because it's different than what you do normally. So it's like a change of pace. And it's weird that now the change of pace in our lives, back in the day, change of pace used to be entertainment, TV. And now our escape is like reading books, going to the library. Funny how that comes full circle. But yeah, no, going back to these, it's just kind of weird to watch. And I'm not against people making videos of differences of what it's like being in an interracial relationship. What I am kind of weirded out is that it seems like that's all they really talk about. It seems like that's really a focus of a lot of the genesis and origin of their conversations. Instead of being like, yeah, and kind of making jokes and laughing about it and having a camaraderie about it. And it seems like that's like a good portion of their conversation. And it kind of seems like they just kind of get off on being quote unquote different instead of actually being a couple and connecting. Now, it could be wrong because, you know, they probably have a regular life. They do shit together. But it seems like the only thing they want to present to the world is to remind everyone of how interracial they are. It's like, yeah, I have eyes. And I guess the reason why it's a turn off for me is because you hear in person, like you hear how, I mean, I'll just be straight up. Like I've heard specifically because of my experience with having friends I've dated white girls and in their instance, they were interracial. And you even hear how in front of them, how they just like talk about their own race, especially when they get a few margaritas. I lost McGee's, but hey, who's keeping track? Oh, girl, you get some margarita into a white girl. Unleash the dogs, baby. That's how you, if you really, here's some game that no one has. You really want to know. You really want to know what a white girl thinks? Get a few margaritas at a Mexican restaurant. Because you know what? It's not even just the margaritas. It's not even the potency of the alcohol at these Mexican restaurants. I think it has to do with the music that's playing in the background. They get a little, ooh, like they're in a comforting setting. It's slightly upbeat, but it's slightly relaxed. It kind of feels like they're just playing some, you know, when their mom makes taco night and enchiladas. They probably play play some music in the background, like, oh, this one makes some people like it. It's like, yeah, we actually just play this music for you guys. We actually we don't even. This isn't even real Mexican food. It's weird how on Cinco de Mayo you make us work the most when it's supposed to be our day. It would be like if on your birthday, instead of people getting you gifts and taking you out to eat, you had to take people out to eat and buy all 9 people in your party gifts, and you had to spend $400. But hey, we all celebrate. Yeah, we all celebrate, and that's an Arthur reference. And but yeah, if you really want to know if you really want to let a girl's bias and race and slightly racist thoughts out, just take her to a Mexican restaurant. It's 100% hit rate. I promise you. If you really want to know what people think about things, yeah. uh, but no, I mean, no, like it's just kind of like weird, like, and you know what people say, and people say like, you know what, if it makes you uncomfortable, that probably says something about you. And it's like, I wouldn't say it really makes me uncomfortable. All it does is make me question your true intentions of why on a topic that you're talking about, whether it's fetishizing or when you're talking about uh, how you're not trying to be different from everyone else. It's just love and all this, but it seems like the genesis of the conversations you want to have as a couple doesn't have really much to do with your genuine love for each other. It has to do more with what is kind of cool to market out there, and that's capitalizing on black women. Yeah, didn't see that coming now, did you? And it's a weird thing, and also it comes off as like you want brownie points for dating and being with a woman that you're in love with. Like, look at me. I'm so much more comfortable. I'm so different than my white counterparts. It's like, are you? And that's the thing. Like, ironically, the way it comes off in most of these videos I was kind of watching, because I started watching a few different, because one, I didn't realize how many different type of channels these were. And I thought, like, you know what, maybe once in a while they touch on these topics, right? But then every video, it had something to do with some serious aspect of, you know, black and white issues type of thing. And, you know, and it's like, oh, this is kind of, this is a little, okay. I mean, it's your stuff, do what you want, but people also have a right to kind of have their interpretation of what it looks like. So I don't know. It kind of comes off as kind of, what is your real true intentions if you didn't have this YouTube channel where you made the genesis of your conversations about everything having to do with the color of your skin, about being with each other. What is it that you're really trying to do here? And I think genuinely, like, and look, I'll be a bit like, I could be a little cynical on a lot of these things, because as someone who has dated a black woman, you have to be very mindful to one, to not be like that, because to be honest, a lot of people don't really want you to try to be something you're not, to appease something. And it seems like a lot of people in these videos are trying to appease something that doesn't really come off as natural of what they truly feel. They're trying to think right, but they haven't necessarily embodied, and they don't actually embody the actual natural qualities that they're actually speaking about when they talk about black women or black people in general, to be honest. And the way they talk about black people, it's very like on toes and on edge. It's like, dude, relax. It's people. And it comes off as very like, they still look at black people as this like, it's like, well, you know, I'm not saying this, but this. It's like all these qualifying statements where they have no conviction of what the fuck they're saying. I don't know. I need to stop myself. I'm starting to criticize people, and I don't want to do that. But yeah. So, anyways, speaking of the gym, gotta love it. And you know, I've seen a few times where people will set up the tripod, and it's so stereotypical when you see a girl and she's wearing the exact outfit of what typically would be infiltrated and criticized with the IG girl, the Instagram girl. Yeah, you know the girl I'm talking about. You're talking about the teal yoga pants, she walks in with the jacket over her crop top, but then after she does a couple sets of some uh inverted rows or some pull downs, you know, she takes the jacket off, and next thing you know, the crop top's out, baby. I ain't complaining. I'm just an observational guy. Um, but then things start to progress. Like the crop top comes off, and I'm very mindful to not look at people when they work out, even if while I'm working out, they I notice when I'm doing certain things. How do you go from doing uh how do you go from doing goblet squats to all of a sudden the next set you come to me and you're doing dumbbell curls next to me while I'm stretching my legs out with my dick hanging out through my shorts. Um that's a very inconsistent workout. That's all I gotta say. Um it's like, it seems like you're putting, as I'm about to get into, you're putting all these workout videos and these workout plans, I'm assuming, to IG. You would never put goblet squats and dumbbell curls in the same workout because it's not really how a split good workout goes. At least not back-to-back sets. Like, unless you do 2 workouts a day. But whatever. But yeah, the crop top, it's so stereotypical. And she looked exactly like what you would think a IG workout girl would look like. Girl that doesn't really work out. I mean, she works out technically, but she never sweats. It's the weirdest thing. IG girls never actually sweat when they work out. And so, but I was in a complete different section. I know, and I don't say this conceitedly, but I know because of the body changes. And I know I've been getting a few looks, and I've gotten a few waves, I've gotten a few smirks, I get a few stares in the mirror when I'm doing push-ups, and you get and when you start noticing that girls will randomly come around you to just get near you when you're working out, when the thing they're doing was not part of their workout plan today. And that's okay. But I'm still like, especially with the recent video of the girl yelling across, "Do you need something?" And I saw it yesterday, and I was thinking, like, maybe I'm gonna start like conversating, and opening the Pandora's box, and maybe maybe ask a girl out at the gym if I find her attractive, or just have small talk at the gym because I ain't here for the long talk. Shit, what's the Drake line? I ain't here for the long talk. Something about this long dick ain't doing no long talking. Fucking problem song. Whatever. You get the line. This long dick ain't for the long talking, now boost. But and now we got fucking problems because now we're fucking, and it's a problem. But it's this thing where I've thought about, like, maybe be a little bit more social. Because when I'm at the gym, like, I've become more social at the point, but at the gym, I'm still pretty, like, when I'm focused, I'm into my thing. I don't mind if someone comes up to me and, like, says hey to me or something, whatever. Like, I'm not, like, leave me alone. But I'm not going to bother anyone. I have my earphones in. I'm in a rhythm. But after seeing that video, do you need some? When it's clearly, it's like that was like those dudes, like I have seen, like honestly, they barely even look. They just did normal observation, like, oh. And she had the audacity. She took her not in my situation, but in the video of the girl, she took her jacket off with the camera rolling. So obviously she was gonna put a video out. We'll just say tens of thousands of people if she has a following. But she's mad because 2 guys in real life, in person, looked at what she wanted 10,000 plus people in the world to look at. And they weren't even really looking. Like, the dude was on the machine, and he's already looking head on in that area. And the other guy, he turns around quick, goes like, oh, all right. And you took your jacket off and literally have your torso hanging out. You know, she had a nice body. She had her torso hanging out, wearing the crop top and yoga pants. And she had a fucking attitude like, do you need something? Why are you looking at me? It's like, you obviously want people to look at you. You're at the gym. You want people to look. You're dressed like that. You want people to look. When you wear a dress and you go to a nice restaurant, you want people to look. What if I wear a tuxedo and I wear nice clothing, if I dress up and I wear deodorant, I always wear deodorant. But if I slab on some cologne on the neck, guess what? I want people to look. And that's okay. You can't dress a certain way and just say you're mad because people take a glance at you when you were literally recording on a device that's going to go out into the world on social media, and you're going to have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that you want a reaction from. And you're mad because two dudes in real life who were like 30 feet fucking away, they didn't say anything. They weren't being creepy. They didn't yell across. They weren't catcalling you. They just glance. I have seen in real life, I have seen people, I have seen dudes, and honestly, girls will stare the living fuck out of you if you, if you're doing a few things in there, just saying. Oh, those hip thrusters and the hip abduction machines. Spread your legs, spread it in, spread it out. They're like, ooh, thigh gap. Peace, love, the thigh gap. Oh, Yeezy. Oh, Jesus. But, and that's why Kim K's with Pete. Oh, Pistol Pete. He's squirting in that gun, all right. Okay, Clint. But yeah, look, it's the video speaks for itself. Anyways, back to what's important. Back to me. This girl, she pulls out this mini tripod, and I'm like, Jesus. And let me remind you, it's like noon, 1 o'clock. The gym's not really busy, but a couple people start coming in. So it's not just like there's 3 people in the gym and she's doing her own thing. Like, I was on the other side doing the resistant band shit anyways, so I wasn't over there in the lifting area where dudes just hunk around and just do dumbass dumbbell curls like they're fucking doing shit. When I realized, like, if you do that shit and that's all you do, not much is happening, my friend. And they just look like idiots, just like pumping them out. Like, literally, when you go to a gym, you start realizing, like, the people, there'll be people that go in there for 20 minutes just to get a workout pumping, just to get a pump, and then they bounce. Like, there's 2 types. Like, there's the people that go in there and walk for like 15 minutes, and that's it. And that's cool. I'm not telling you what to do with your membership. But what's more egregious to me is someone that goes in there and they hog a busy section, and they're just sitting there pumping out dumbbell curls. Not even variation. They're not even mixing up. They're not doing hammer curls. They're not doing extended side shoulder type of extension type of shit. Like, they're not even mixing up. They're just there just trying to get something going in their arms just to feel better about themselves. And then they're going to go, get a number 4 at McDonald's or wherever the fuck. And probably 2 for $5 from Arby's. Get that Wagyu burger. Because, and it's just like, that shit pissed me off because it's like they're really going in there, and then they're the type of dudes that look around and just look at you while you're working out. And I don't mind people looking like, when you go to the gym enough, like, it's kind of complimentary, but at the same time, it's like, you're not just like looking at me. Like, I feel like you're trying to analyze my every little move of my body, which it kind of comes off as pedophilia, very pedophilia, even though I'm 26 years old. And there's like, but when you have these 56-year-old dudes just looking at you, it's like, oh, so it's not just the girls that you just look at. You just have this heavy propensity for the youth. Like, I remember when I used to be able to, squat, and now I can't do squat. But anyways, so yeah, she takes one of the benches and she pulls out this little tripod. She goes to her book bag area. I see it because I'm in between sets. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. She pulls out this mini little tripod. And then she goes back to where she was at by the dumbbells. She sets her phone up. It takes her like 3 minutes to get whatever setting she's doing. And I'm just like, all right, cool. I was like, oh, Jesus, I can't believe this is happening. I mean, I can believe it's happening because she literally fits the bill. She literally, like, if something were to happen and she were to, like, beat someone's ass and then run out of there and the police would come, like, what does she look like? And be like, she looks like an IG model that was making a workout video. And they'd be like, oh, okay, this should be easy, fine. But, and she's sitting there, and I'm like, you know what, Clint, you're being judgmental. You know what, maybe, just maybe, she's going to do some type of workout videos that's never been done before. Maybe she's going to do some body parts. Maybe she's going to do some dual split workouts where it's like you do 8 sets of these lateral raises. But if you really want to hit this part of the upper back that people neglect, you're going to do these reverse shoulder blade type of shit. And, I'm thinking optimistic here. But as we know, the IG models, and really just IG workouts, this isn't even specific to girls, but guys, they don't exactly reinvent the wheel in their workouts. They're not doing wheelhouse ab workouts. They're not doing rotational scissor bands. Nah, you know what they do? Hey guys, try this in your workout. And it's just them standing up with 10-pound dumbbells in her hands, doing curls. Not even great form anyways, but I'm not going to say her critique. Wasn't terrible form, but, she wasn't exactly contracting the right muscles there, as someone who has a few. And of course, it was dumbbell curl, pronate the wrist a little bit. If you know what I'm talking about, the pronating, you know what I'm talking about. The ones where you come up with it like a hammer curl, but halfway through you change it to a bicep curl, which is actually one of the most useless fucking bicep workouts ever. First of all, if you actually want to create better, stronger biceps, you actually very rarely ever actually do straight up bicep curls. You gain strong bicep and arms by doing just about anything else, actually. Just fun fact, bicep curls are, except if you're doing very specific extension on a certain, like if you're extending it out on a barbell curl rack and you're extending it down and doing different forms and variations, doing basic bicep standing bicep curls is honestly one of the most useless fucking things. It doesn't mean you're not going to get a pump. It doesn't technically mean that your biceps aren't going to get visibly bigger, but they're not necessarily getting stronger. They're not necessarily getting functionally stronger. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I don't have an IG page to promote this shit on, so obviously I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But just sitting there, and all I could think about was, the worst part about this is this bitch really oh Jesus, there I am using the word, sorry. This lady, very attractive too, this lady, if she were to come up to me and be like, hey, you busy? I'd be like, not at all. So as I'm saying all this, hey, it's like, I'll curl a few things up for you, including your toes, baby. Oh, baby. It only took 47 minutes to start podding. And it's like, include me in your workouts and your videos. Get the podcast up. Put the link in the description. God, that's so cringe. Link in description to the workout. It's like, so you literally just You literally did a workout, pass on your own, and then link in description is from Men's Health. It's like, all right, could have just actually just gone to Men's Health instead of watching you half-ass it and not even have any resistance in what you're doing. Like there was no effort in what you were doing. There was no resistance. I didn't even feel the idea of a sweat about to happen. And I sweat just thinking about working out. And I watched you work out and you didn't even, like, your body couldn't even come to a sweat. It actually was starting to get chill bumps for how cold you were giving the cold shoulder to the workout. But the worst part to me is that, wow, she really thinks she's putting some out into the world that that hasn't been done before, or that's revolutionizing the dumbbell curl in the workout IG social media universe. You know what's the most common thing people do at the gym? Dumbbell curls. You don't think everyone that's been to the gym has looked up dumbbell curl workouts? You don't think any dumb fuck could figure out to pull up their arm on a dumbbell curl and maybe change a few things and snap their wrist while doing it like it's jazz hands? The fact that you think that you're the one reinventing the fucking wheel for how to do a fucking dumbbell curl, and then you don't even do a variation of it. You just do the most basic bullshit that's not even that effective. Hate to break it to you. But the worst part is, it's stuff like when you see that, it's like, wow. When I think of myself, like, I have my ego moments. Sometimes, like, am I slightly narcissistic? And I really don't think I'm narcissistic. But, look, I think there's things that's like, sometimes I really be feeling myself. But I never go on my phone when I'm working out. Like, I have my phone out to change the song and shit, but nothing more than like a couple seconds at most at a time if I'm on it. And I'm not on it in between every rep and set type of thing. Just like, I'm tired of listening to Nickelback. Put on some Jack Harlow. Put on some Pooh Shiesty. It's like, you know what? I want a Rico. I want a Rico charge right now. Put on that Gunna and Young Thug, baby. And then I just end up listening to Rico with Drake and The Game because, it's like, I don't want to get too close to the action. 95 and 100. But the worst part is I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this girl is so self-absorbed with herself. And she's not even doing anything like even slightly different than I've seen. And it's the most definition of fitting the stereotype of the basic IG model bitch. I don't want to say the basic white bitch, but the basic white IG model bitch where she's going to get hundreds of thousands of followers for doing bullshit that everyone knows. If you were to just follow these workouts and go to the gym and do as a guy, maybe as a girl they're effective, but as a guy, if you just follow, because that's their audience, is guys. Like, no guys watching are like, wow, I'm going to go gym and do exactly what she did and get these gains. If you do what she did, you're going to lose gains. You know why? Because they ain't going to do shit. And you're going to get discouraged. You're going to overeat. You're going to think you're doing shit. You're going to overeat. And you're not burning enough calories. You're not putting enough muscle in your body. And you're going to do what this girl's doing and think you're doing some shit. And then be like, why doesn't this girl want me? You know why? Because you're not doing workouts that Clint's doing. That's why you're not getting the girl. If you do the workout she's doing, she's not going to fuck you. You do the workout that she actually looks at. That she actually looks at when she's at the gym. The guys that she looks at when she's at the gym. When you want to get the looks that she does when she's looking at them. Do the workouts those guys are doing. All right? Because that's what gets you that ooh. So, you know what? But I'm not here shitting on someone's hustle. I'm not against people posting their workouts. Like, I'm not one of these people. I'll be honest. I used to be like, motherfucker posting, look at me squatting. But I actually think it's really cool when people post their workouts and it shows progress in their stuff. Now, if you're one of those people who's posting your every single fucking rep and everything you do, and you have like 4-minute IG stories of you doing very little, honestly, or 4-minute IG stories where you're just posting you working out, but you're not even posting like maybe some sets and shit that you're doing with it, or or it just seems like you're posting it for show and it's all the time. I think like people posting their workout in doses is cool. Like once in a while, like, hey, keep up the hard work out there, even though, no one's actually watching your video and it's like, you know what? I'm going to the gym now. But I do think like there's value in that. I don't think it's complete bullshit. I think it's cool to show your progress, even if you show your body shirtless and pics and stuff like that. I think that's okay. I think that's cool. And obviously people like it. All right. But when people just put out shit that is very low minimum effort, but they advertise it as, when you do this, you're going to get the type of effort that you've been seeking out from someone like me. Because any person that actually works out moderately is going to look at that and be like, that's not doing anything. The person that person is trying to, I don't want to say trick, because I don't think she's selling no program or nothing. But the thing that is trying to persuade or invade someone's mind and type of way they think about working out in general is going to make that person really think that working out takes this basic low effort to get any type of meaningful result. And that is just not how that works. This steady pace, lightweight, just going through the motions, it's not going to do anything for you. And this isn't the workout pod. I'm not telling I'm not shaming people for not working when they work out. But when they advertise it as you just have to do this lazy and it's deemed as lazy, you're not even remotely sweating. There's no straining. There's no resistance. You never actually feel like this person is actually struggling to push themselves. It sets a precedent that you can put minimum effort and get, I don't want to say maximum, but get above average results. And I think that's the part, like, on a slightly, there's a triggering. It's not that serious when you see it in person. You just smirk and laugh like, Jesus, this fucking guy. And the worst part is that, like, the other 9 dudes that are just roaming around the gym, they're all just kind of looking at her in this creepy way like, oh my God, she's so hot. And they're not going to say shit. And they're just over there trying to get near her and do their pumping curls and shit. It's like, she's looking at me from across the room. Yo, excuse me, miss. I saw you from across the room. And let me show you how to fucking actually do some curls, bitch. What if just like in the middle of a video, I know she wasn't IG live, but what if she was just like pre-recording a video? I wish she was IG live, because I would interrupt like, hey, let me show you 10,000 followers a few things, and like, oh my God, is he in Riverdale? Oh my God, he looks like Arrow. And I have Arrow down to my pussy for him. Pound Town. I'm such a fucking idiot. But no, seriously. I do think, like, when someone watches that, and some person that doesn't work out, or they're getting into it, or they're novice, but they have intentions to better, they see that and they think, it sets the standard that if I just do, this is what it looks like to gain results. It's like, no, it actually is very hard to gain results. It is very hard. It's gonna suck the first while. It's gonna suck for a little while. And don't think if you just do this 3 or 4 times, you're gonna look like her. Because let me tell you, that's not what she's actually doing to look the way she does. I saw her back when she was doing the inverter rows. It was actually quite impressive. She's not a bodybuilder, but you definitely tell, she's a she's had her back touched on. From her form, that Nicki Minaj, that good form. Um, oh, Clint, such a fucking idiot. Too bad we're already an hour into the pod and no one's gonna listen past this point, anyways. But hey, that's when the good stuff happens. An hour in, when she tells you like, "Hey, are you done yet?" And I'm like Ice Cube, and I say, "Are we there yet?" And she's like, "No, we never got there. Neither of us." And you're just like, well, hey, you know, sometimes you don't have to. Yeah, I always heard that, you could have a good time and not come. And she's like, God, you men will do anything to lie to yourselves. And I'm like, yeah, kind of like you on IG when you're doing your workout vids, lying to the fucking world. But yeah, I have nothing against her. And I have nothing against people that do it. It is kind of a weird situation. Just someone in the middle. The fact that someone is so kind of into themselves and is a little deterrent of other people around, that they're just like, let me just set up this tripod at a gym. At a small gym at that. Like, this isn't Planet Fitness. Like, I've seen weirdos at Planet Fitness do like lunges while recording themselves, and it's like, yeah, the type of lunges you're doing, I want to put that out into the world. It's not exactly looking good. But hey, you know what? I'm all about progress. I'll be honest, I used to be a little bit more of a stickler about that shit. Like, it used to be like, I would fucking hate coming across like the fucking ego in this person. I'm still like, yeah, you know what? They probably got things about them, but I'm in no place to judge. I'm a little bit less judgmental. But with that being said, yeah, I don't even know. With that being said, that was episode 152 of the Off and Beat podcast. I don't even want to. Jesus. Moral of today's pod is stop using social media to capitalize on your interracial relationship, because it's just kind of cringy. And don't just whip out the tripod in the gym. And if you are, you better be really doing some shit. Don't put out, like, if you're gonna put out some videos, just be like all the other ones and just put out some unnecessary, ass workouts that don't actually enhance your ass, but it just extends, and it's just like an ass pump, I guess. Like, dudes will put out, like, they'll do some curls, go to the bathroom, take a good pic of their vascularity. I get it. Yeah, just put out those pics. I would prefer those more. Comes in, comes out, like get in, get out, breathe in, breathe out. Jesus. Okay, and that was today's episode. Don't forget to like. Shit, I forgot to say the beginning. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell on all the podcast apps. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, suck some titties. And that's today's episode. Glad I got around to doing it. Doing the wee hours in the morning. And now I gotta take a shit, eat some ramen, brush my teeth, and go to the gym. So, in that order. So, have a great day, guys.